So, last night we spoke to, well, let's say that Jesus spoke, more like it. Jesus spoke to a lot of things that are going on and calling them out. And this morning we spoke to Mark 16 and Jesus' goodness, but also to the fact that there is good news for us. Tonight, I'm not sure what to share with you all. I can say that I am feeling quite a bit of loneliness. I had a great time earlier with some small group friends over virtual and playing a game, and that was truly wonderful. It was just amazing fellowship. Not the same as in person, but I don't know why I start yawning as soon as I start these videos. Oh, the enemy's ornery. But yeah, it was just amazing fellowship, and it was a good time. It really was. But I don't know what to share with you guys tonight because there's just so much that the Lord talked to me today about and showed me today, and I really just kind of feel tired, and I feel kind of alone. And I read something just a bit ago that really kind of shook me, and it was speaking to the idea of trauma and how trauma isolates us and pulls us away from community. And it just makes me really realize and recognize that COVID-19 is a period where some of us are in trauma, or some of us are experiencing trauma, and it sounds silly, but if you think about it, if you are in a survival mode, if you are a survival-based personality, based on your past or whatever occurrences have happened, that you are a trauma survivor. It could be any number of things. To be in this COVID-19 and have all these rules and restrictions, and this you cannot leave your house deal, for someone with depression or chronic depression, it can sound great. I don't have to leave my house. I don't have to have an excuse to leave my house. But it's not really that great, because now you have no excuse to leave your house. So now you're what? Staying in your house and not leaving at all and letting your chronic depression rule your life. Or someone who has severe anxiety. I don't have to go outside the house anymore, you know? Yeah, but now you have chronic anxiety and you are fighting it inside and you have no one to reach out to. And that can actually be very dangerous and very scary. And I think amidst this, we are missing out on the mental health crisis that is occurring around us through this. Trauma isolates you. Trauma separates you. It creates this barrier and this idea that you are better off by yourself and less so with people. And now you have the perfect excuse. Now you have the perfect excuse, friends, family, world, to not leave that house, to not see your friends, to not have any communication, to shut yourself off from the world and binge eat, binge watch shows, hoard up on supplies, whatever it is, You have this perfect opportunity now. You have no reason whatsoever to face what you are struggling with and call it out. You have no reason. As a trauma survivor and a person who struggles immensely with that, I could say I could have a choice to not leave the house. Yesterday I chose not to leave the house. I did leave the house in a way, but not for my job and not for myself. But I did accomplish something. I accomplished packing, so I didn't let my trauma overrule me. But it was so easy for me to just lie for hours, watch TV shows, not leave my bed, cuddle my dog, not take her for a walk, not really eat, because why do I need to eat if I'm just laying in bed? It was really easy for me to do that. And I know I'm not alone in that. And today, I pushed myself. I got myself going. I went out there. And I faced a lot of things. But, I experienced a moment in the store when it was supposed to be empty and supposed to be mainly for us shoppers who are shopping with other people, but they had allowed the store to get really crowded. And somewhere down the aisles, some girls started screaming. And it was a simple thing of girls just being girls, and I was kind of in the college area, so it was probably some college kids. And they were just laughing and being silly. But I had to literally walk myself through that aisle, talking to Jesus, having him help me cope with my anxiety and calm me down. Now that sounds really ridiculous, but if you think about it, sudden noises such as that in a very crowded atmosphere with already a tense expectation among us to keep a certain distance, to not really look at each other or touch each other, to get our items. I'm on a time limit. It's a very high anxiety area. Very high anxiety. And then to top it with sudden screaming like that, which immediately triggers a response. It's just when my mind flips. It was very, very unnerving. It was a very unnerving experience. But I faced it. I walked through it. I talked to Jesus. And I made it through. And I forgot about it until just now. And I'm shaking a little bit because of that, probably. But this is the time when us who are trauma survivors, who know what that is like to be in that environment and to deal with those anxieties and those depression and all that pressure weight on us, this is a really easy time for us to just hold ourselves up and not leave the house. This is an easy time for us to push ourselves a little bit. Oh my word. But this is a time that we need to really take care of ourselves. If it is the simple act of you getting up and brushing your teeth and eating breakfast, and that feels like a success, celebrate that, friends and family world. Celebrate that. Don't let your trauma, don't let your anxiety, your depression, whatever it is, call it out. Say, I'm going to do this today. Make a list. If it is get out of bed and that's all you do, congratulations, you made it. If it is to go out in your kitchen and eat your food, congratulations. I know that with a lot of stress been happening with moving and with the social isolation and all these rules and boundaries and really trying to find Jesus amongst it all and having really heart convicting me lately, that I felt a lot of stress. And with stress comes, well, I don't let myself to the cupboard very much. And that's not a good thing. I've actually found that I talk myself into getting myself something to eat. Pretty much most days anymore at the rate I'm going. Just because I keep myself so busy. But I go in those stores, I'm like, okay, Lord, what should I eat today for lunch? And lunch may not occur until like 2 or 4, but it's still lunch, and the Lord has helped me get there. For me, it's just, I don't think about eating when I have other things to do. For other people, it might be they need to eat constantly, and they really need to slow down. Everyone has their own ways of coping. Everyone has their own ways of moving. I move until I can't move no more, and then I break. That's just my mentality. You know, keep going until you can't, so you can't feel, you can't think. Now, I've been doing really good about regulating that, but that's just a trauma, infused reaction is what it is. If I work, if I don't think, if I keep moving, because, boy, you eat, you stop, you stop and you have time to think. That's not good, right? But I have, with the Lord's help, been able to navigate that through this job, because this job doesn't have regulated lunch breaks. I have to make my own lunch breaks. And that has actually proven to be really difficult. I think today my lunch break was at 2. And I started, 9 or 10. And breakfast is 9 o'clock? I'm really shaky right now. So I apologize if I am being jittery on this phone that I'm recording from. But it's simple things that we take for granted that other people can't, It's just how we react. But it is fact that this COVID-19 is a problem. it is causing a huge issue for people with mental health issues. It is a big problem with people who have trauma-infused difficulties. I may be well on my way to healing and may be well healed, but my mind is still working through healing processes. If my body is good, that's great, but I'm still working through mind-wise, and it's not there yet. And this has triggered a lot of things, and tonight was a lot of loneliness, and I literally have been sitting there probably on my bed for hours just scrolling through Facebook for no reason whatsoever. I could be sleeping, but why would I sleep? You know, I've been struggling a lot with sleeping lately, but I have a lot of stress and I have a lot of things on my mind, but I'm not the only one. There's lots of people out there that are dealing with similar things, or dealing with things that are even more extreme. There are people that are suicidal, stuck in their homes. That's a scary thought. They're suicidal, they're stuck in their homes, and they can't even have any physical human contact. That is scary. I don't know if suicide rates have actually gone up, but I would not be surprised if that is a statistic as well. I am not surprised abuse rates have gone up. It's sad, but it's truth. Depression is even more prevalent right now, because also now many of us have lost our jobs. And where's our money coming in? I'm grateful I have Instacart, and God gave me that, and I am able to go out there and serve people and really live my life to the best through that and earn money for myself. But if you're immunocompromised, or you have some possible susceptibility to this virus or something else, and you can't leave this house, and you suffer from depression, that's not okay. Or anxiety, that's not okay. We really need to reach out to those that are around us. We really need to check in with them and say, hey, how are you doing? It's really simple, but it is hard, because it's easy to think, oh yeah, they smile, they laugh, they're doing great. Not so much. A lot can happen behind a smile. A lot can happen behind a laugh. I can smile and laugh and act like life is great, but you don't know what's going on in my mind, and you don't know what's going on in my heart, and you don't know what I'm struggling with today, because I'm not going to tell you. And you don't have to have the details to give to strangers. But if you really are struggling, you need to turn to Jesus. He's the way, the light, He's the light and the truth, you know? He really is. And I don't know why I'm really talking about this, but I guess the Lord wants us to hear that if you are struggling, you are not alone. If you are doing well, check on those that may not be. If you know people that are not, that struggle with things, check on them for sure. This is a scary time. There's a lot of fear. And with fear, depression, anxiety, it grows. It expands. It takes over. I'm not trying to face fear. I'm pretty much trying to put fear aside. But there are fearful things, yes. I mean, and seeing fear in people's eyes, you know, it's hard. It's so natural for me when I deliver groceries, if they're out there, to hand it to them. But do you know the moment that I do that and see the fear on their eyes and then back up? Do you know what that does to a person who struggles with anxiety and depression? It's a form of rejection. And it is hard to take, but you have to remind yourself that, wait, you crossed the line. They didn't do anything wrong. You crossed that line because you weren't 6 feet away. And you might have touched them. Oh my goodness, you have a plague. That's what it feels like. And I've been noticing that as the weeks go longer, a lot more people are leaving things on their porches. I mean, leave their produce and stuff on the porches. But also people are coming outside their doors. But they're not expecting it to be handed to them. But it's just natural for me to hand something to someone. It's just natural for me to give the best service possible, which is in their hands and not on the porch where they pick it up. But today I had a guy literally do that. Back away and be like, kind of thing. And that shook me. Because in my mind, I didn't do anything wrong. But I did, because I crossed the governmental barrier. You know, those rules, those regulations. That's hard. And I'm not the only one that's feeling it, I'm sure. But someone who struggles with that, even though we struggle with certain things and stuff, like touch and that, it doesn't mean that we don't need it. It doesn't mean that we don't want it. We might struggle with it, but we still need it. We need that physical human contact. And we are told right now that we can't have that. And sometimes that's the only way that we can really feel like we are safe and we are okay and that we are grounded. I am so grateful I have a dog. For those that are struggling with mental health issues and don't have animals, I really feel for you, because my dog keeps me grounded. She was trained to keep me grounded. And I may not have anxiety or depression to the degree, but it comes in waves. It comes, it goes, But I always have my dog to come home to. I get that happy face that gets me smiling and laughing. I have that constant touch like she's doing right now. I didn't train her per se to do that. She's a natural service dog. She's a natural service dog mentality, and so she was so easy to train in that. But she knows that touch is reassuring for her as well as for me. Touch grounds me. Touch grounds those with mental illnesses. It sounds weird, but it does. It makes them stay in the physical presence. Otherwise, we can go wherever, and sometimes it's not a good place. And yet when I'm running these orders, my dog is of course at home because I can't have her wait in the car when it's this warm out. If it was like really cold, it would be fine. But I have nothing to ground me. I have no physical contact. I have nothing to tell me that I'm okay, short of crying out to Jesus and holding his hand, which I'm seeing in my spiritual eye because he's not actually here, but he could be, kind of thing. But that's what grounds me when I do my job. That's what tells me that I'm okay. And then when people look at me weird, or people say things to me, or people act a certain way towards me, that's what grounds me is Jesus. And we need Jesus. And those that are struggling need Jesus. And we need to remember who Jesus is. And like I say, this is important. This is an important message that I am sending out, that we need to care for those that may act like they're okay, but they're not. I mean, they're not going to tell you, more than likely, that they are struggling, or they are afraid, or they are depressed, or they are full of anxiety. They're not going to tell you about all the things that they're dealing with and struggling with, or how they left the house in days. They're not going to tell you that. Unless you're really, really good friends, or really, really close, they might share that. But they're not going to tell you that. And it's up to you to make that first step to say, hey, how are you doing really? Jesus loves you. Hold on to Jesus. He's got you. I love saying that to people. He's got you. And it sounds so cliche, but it's so meaningful to the point that he has got you right here, right now. That he is holding your hand. That he is holding you in his arms. So even when you can't feel that physical presence, even when you can't seem to get out of this state of funk that you are in, you can be reminded that Jesus has a hold of you and he is not letting go. So don't just pray for people. Let them know that they are held, that they are loved, and they are going to get through this, and they're going to be stronger and better for it. This is a hard time, friends, family, and world. This is a hard time. And there are many of us that are struggling in ways we don't understand or don't comprehend. I told you this morning that I'm going to go out there and make this my best day. And I felt like I ended it good. I got my orders in. I went and did an order that I did not have to do. It was quick, easy money. There was a little bit of a distance. But I did it because I saw what was needed. And I was like, these people are not asking for this item this many miles away at this low of a cost of payment if they did not desperately need it. So I went and got those 2 items and I gave it over to them. And they did the whole back away kind of thing, which kind of again was just like, that's right, I crossed the line. But again, I had to talk to Jesus to reaffirm myself and who I am and whose we are and the way he sees me. Because the way he sees me is the way I need to remind myself consistently of who I am. I am not who those people think whenever I cross that line of physical contact. I am who he thinks I am. Don't let this put you down any further, people, friends and world. Don't let this put you down any further. Don't let you forget who you are. Don't let this make you forget who He is. This is important, friends, family, and world. This is so, so important. This is real. This is happening. And for some of us, it is a trauma-induced instigator. It is. For others of us, it's a time where we can hang out at home and chill and relax and have a great time. Awesome for you. But for others of us, we are struggling so badly, other people can't even see it. Now, I'm doing well. I have Jesus, and I have my Instacart, and I have my dog, and I have people around me that really pour into my life and care and hold me well. But there are still nights like tonight where even after that, I feel a sense of loneliness, and I feel a sense of just needing someone there. But I don't always know how to reach out. And I don't know always how to ask for it. I need to work on that probably, yes. We all need to work on that. But it's mental illness, it's not going to go away. Mental health does not go away overnight. It doesn't go away because we wish it to. It goes away because we have Jesus, which gets us through that darkness and into the light again. And He puts us people in our path in that moment to get us through the darkness into the light. I just want you guys to hear the mental illness and mental health crises are not fake. They are real and they are happening, and COVID-19 is bringing them out badly. And we need to care for those around us. We need to share the good news and tell people they are loved. More people have been out on the streets asking for money and food desperately because they don't have the means to get it themselves at this moment. More people are hitting the streets, which causes them to be more depressed and more frustrated and more hurting, and it causes a trauma-induced response. When you don't know where your next paycheck is, and you've been financially secure before, and suddenly you don't know where your next paycheck is. Suddenly you can't feed your family. Suddenly you can't feed yourself. Suddenly you don't know if you're going to be able to keep your house, able to keep your electricity or your water on. All that causes a trauma-induced response. We don't think about that, but it does. And that moment then forever is crafting that person's mind and body and systems and soul into that moment. Now they can walk out of that and maybe be okay. Or they could struggle with that from then on. It takes one small thing to shatter sometimes our perfect realities. Homelessness can do that. Losing our home can do that. Losing our job can create that. And if in a bad situation can create that. It can be something from super severe, terrifying trauma, all the way down to the smallest little thing that may not seem like trauma at the moment, but then you end up can't figure out why you can't get past this one thing. And you find out and you look back and Jesus shows it to you and you're like, that was just that small of a thing. But it was that small of a thing that automatically triggered that. And capsized that again. And now you're stuck in a trauma-induced state. And how do you get out of it? You have Jesus. It's crazy that we have to live in a world where this is our reality. We live in a world that is so trauma-filled that we don't even recognize it because we're so used to getting up in the day and facing the day no matter what it brings. There are people that are struggling and hurting in ways we can't even imagine. There are people that just want to be held and they don't have the capability to be held at this moment because of COVID-19. This is wrong, and this is sad, and this is heartbreaking, but this is reality right now. We are in a trauma-induced state, world. We are in a trauma-induced state, and those that already have experienced it or gone through it are put through it twice-fold. Those who have not are now facing that and not sure how to navigate through that. I would not be surprised that after this, counselors are overbooked, or those that need help are finding other ways of getting help. I wouldn't be surprised if the drug rate increased either. I would not be surprised. And it's a heartbreaking, sad thought, but it's probably reality. Alcohol inducing, wouldn't be surprised that got raised as well. How many more people are taken to the hospitals lately because of overdoses? I wouldn't be surprised if that rose as well. This is reality. People are dealing with the situation the best they can, and sometimes it is not the right way. Oftentimes, it's not. Sometimes it is. But if you have Jesus, you can get through. You can move through this, and you can end up okay. But turning to the objects and substances and things in front of you, it's not the way. It's not the answer. There are better things out there, and his name is Jesus. And the word is going to get you there. So I want you guys all to know that you are loved. You are loved, 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 so adored by him above. He is our King. We are the kingdom children. We are the children that are going to act now, that are going to speak out and protect those that we know and that we don't know. We are going to make a difference. We are kingdom children of now. We need to start loving those, especially right now we need to start loving those. The Lord pointed out so many people to me today while I was on my orders, and I was like, are they okay? And I watched a little bit, and I saw that it was just, a tired worker sitting outside his store so he could take a breather. It wasn't someone who needed something. But there are other people sitting on the side of the streets, and I didn't have anything to give them, sadly, as I like to do. But the Lord kept pointing out people, and it'd be like, my heart would stop. I'd be like, are they okay? What do they need? How can I help them? Many times I have to realize and recognize I can't help them. But I can share Jesus, and I can share his love, and I can love them, and I can pray for them. It may not seem like much, but it is the little I can do that hopefully can make a worldwide difference in the end. That's what it's about. The small things that add up into something big. We don't have to dig a hole, plant a seed, water it every day. That's great, we can. But we don't have to. All we have to do is sprinkle some water on that seed sometimes. Or just shuffle some of that dirt around that seed sometimes. Check and make sure that there are no weeds around that seed sometimes. Just simple little small things that add up exponentially. That's what God wants us to do. He wants us to tend and care for his garden and love people. Love his flowers because they are beautiful in his eyes. We are all beautiful in his eyes. So Lord, I want to bid good night to you guys. I pray that you are doing well, and if you are not, know you are not alone, and we are here for you. If you need someone to talk to, please reach out to me. I am not a counselor or anything of that degree, but I can be a friend. So if you need something, please reach out to me. Reach out to your neighbor. Reach out to someone. Let them know how you're doing and how you're struggling. Tell the honest truth, no matter how hard it is. We don't want you to be another statistic. You are a face with a name and a beautiful heart that the Lord adores. We love you. We love you, world. We love you. Know that you are loved tonight. Know that you are so loved in this deep ocean, vast world. Vastness. This deep ocean of love that the Lord has for us. Know that it is there and it is available for you. It is there for you guys. All right, world. I'll say goodnight. And I love you. Virtual hugs. Always.